The outcast engineer. A scavenger's desperation. The eternal twilight of Helios Station cast long shadows across the sprawling salvage fields, where countless derelict vessels lay scattered like the bones of metal giants. Nadia Reeves adjusted her respirator against the caustic atmosphere, the acrid taste of industrial chemicals still somehow seeping through the filters. Her scarred hands moved with practiced precision over her scanning equipment, the device's soft blue glow illuminating her weathered face. 3 years ago, she had been chief engineer aboard the Andromeda, the most advanced research vessel in the United Earth Fleet. Now she scavenged for scraps on the edge of civilized space, her reputation and credentials destroyed after she'd exposed dangerous corners cut on a colonial transport that later claimed 200 lives. The corporate tribunal had made an example of her, the whistleblower became the scapegoat. Just need one good find, she muttered to herself, a mantra repeated on countless fruitless excursions. Her supplies were running low, and her landlord at the station had threatened eviction if she missed another payment. The scanner in her hand suddenly emitted an irregular pulse, its normal steady rhythm becoming erratic. Nadia frowned, tapping the device against her palm. What now? Can't afford another malfunction. But the scanner wasn't malfunctioning. Its display showed energy readings unlike anything she'd encountered before, patterns that defied conventional physics. Nadia's heart quickened as she calibrated the device, confirming the readings weren't an error. The buried discovery. Following the signal, Nadia navigated deeper into the restricted section of the salvage yard, where the oldest wrecks were abandoned. Few scavengers ventured this far, the area was rumored to contain pre-contact vessels, their unknown technologies often unstable and dangerous. The signal led her to a clearing where the ground appeared oddly smooth compared to the surrounding chaos. Kneeling, Nadia brushed away years of accumulated dust and debris, revealing a surface that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "What are you?" she whispered, running her fingers along the peculiar material. It felt cool to the touch, with a subtle vibration that resonated through her fingertips. Hours of careful excavation revealed the unmistakable contours of a ship, but unlike any design in the official registries. Its hull had no visible seams or rivets, appearing to be forged from a single piece of material. Despite being buried for what must have been decades, perhaps centuries, there wasn't a single scratch or sign of corrosion. Nadia set up portable floodlights as darkness fell. The station's security drones would begin their patrol soon, and she had no permit for this section. She worked frantically, clearing debris from what appeared to be an access panel marked with intricate symbols that resembled no language she recognized. First contact. When her excavation tools struck a particular section of the hull, the symbols suddenly illuminated with a soft amber glow. Nadia jerked back in surprise, nearly falling into the pit she'd dug. Active power after all this time. She checked her radiation meter instinctively, nothing detected. Whatever energy source powered this vessel, it wasn't nuclear or any standard fuel she knew. The glowing symbols rearranged themselves before her eyes, shifting and flowing like liquid until they formed characters she could understand, identify. Nadia's breath caught in her throat. Interactive interface, she whispered, her engineer's mind racing with possibilities. With trembling fingers, she touched the illuminated panel. I'm Nadia Reeves. Human. Engineer. The symbols shifted again, genetic profile analyzed. Compatibility, acceptable. Permission to access granted, Engineer Nadia Reeves. The ground beneath her trembled as seams appeared in the previously seamless hull, revealing an entrance that expanded like an iris. Cool air wafted from within, carrying a scent of ozone and something else, something alien yet oddly familiar. Awakening. Against every safety protocol she'd been taught, Nadia stepped inside. Lights activated in sequence, revealing a corridor that seemed to bend the rules of spatial geometry, appearing larger inside than the ship's external dimensions suggested possible. The corridor led to what could only be described as a bridge, though it bore little resemblance to any command center she'd seen. There were no conventional controls, just smooth surfaces that illuminated as she approached. Welcome, engineer, a voice spoke, neither male nor female, resonating from everywhere and nowhere simultaneously. This vessel has been dormant for 3,274 standard cycles. Systems are currently at 27% operational capacity. Nadia stood frozen, her mind struggling to process what was happening. Who are you? This vessel is designated Sentinel, a Guardian-class ship of the Forerunner fleet. I am its integrated intelligence system. Forerunner. The term meant nothing to her. I don't understand. This technology, it's beyond anything in our records. Your civilization was in its infancy when my creators vanished from this galaxy, the voice explained with what sounded almost like sympathy. I was programmed to remain dormant until a compatible species reached sufficient technological understanding. Before Nadia could respond, alarm sirens blared outside. Red warning lights flashed across her portable scanner. Security forces were approaching, and quickly. Someone must have detected the energy signature, she realized aloud. If they found her here with unregistered alien technology, the salvage violation would be the least of her concerns. Corporate extraction teams would dissect this ship piece by piece, and she'd disappear into some black site research facility. Sentinel, she said, surprising herself with the steadiness in her voice, can you still fly? Limited flight capabilities are available. However, my power core requires restoration before interstellar travel is possible. Nadia's mind raced through her options, each worse than the last. Stay and face corporate punishment, or take a chance with ancient alien technology that had been buried for centuries. The sound of approaching security drones made the decision for her. Then let's get out of here, she said, placing her hands on what appeared to be the main interface. Show me what you need. The console beneath her palms warmed and pulsed with light that seemed to flow into her skin. Information flooded her consciousness, schematics, system diagnostics, power requirements, knowledge transferred directly to her mind. Neural interface established, Sentinel announced. Initiating emergency launch protocols. Outside, security drones surrounded the excavation site, their spotlights cutting through the dusty air. Inside, ancient engines awakened with a harmonic resonance that vibrated through Nadia's bones. As the ship began to rise from its long-forgotten grave, she realized there would be no going back to her old life. For better or worse, her destiny was now intertwined with this mysterious vessel and whatever purpose had kept it waiting all these centuries. Secrets of the Sentinel. Escape velocity. The ancient vessel rose from its earthen tomb with surprising grace, dust and debris cascading from its gleaming hull. Security drones scattered as the ship's energy field expanded, shorting out their systems. On the bridge, Nadia gripped the pulsing console as inertial forces pushed against her body. Warning, pursuit vessels detected, Sentinel announced, projecting a tactical display that materialized in the air before her. For corporate security cruisers were breaking atmosphere, their weapons systems powering up. They're not taking any chances, Nadia muttered, studying the approaching ships. Standard Helios Corporation enforcers, heavy armaments but sluggish maneuvering. Through the neural interface, Nadia felt rather than saw Sentinel's defensive options. The ship possessed weapons systems beyond anything humanity had developed, but many were offline or degraded from centuries of dormancy. Can we outrun them? She asked. Affirmative. Preparing phase displacement. The sensation that followed defied description. Reality seemed to fold around them, stars smearing into liquid streaks of light. Nadia's stomach lurched as space itself compressed, and then expanded. When the disorientation passed, they were drifting in the shadow of Helios Station's largest moon, the security vessels nowhere in sight. What was that? Nadia gasped, fighting waves of nausea. A simplified translation would be, dimensional shift, moving between the folds of spacetime rather than through it, Sentinel explained. However, this maneuver depleted 18% of our remaining power reserves. Nadia leaned back, processing the implications. Technology that could bend spacetime existed only in theoretical physics journals and speculative fiction. If the corporations got hold of this ship, they would weaponize it immediately. We need somewhere to hide while I understand what I've gotten myself into, she said. The neural dance. They found sanctuary in an asteroid field at the system's edge, the ship's adaptive camouflage rendering it indistinguishable from the surrounding rocks. Save for the moment, Nadia explored the vessel's interior. The ship reconfigured itself as she moved through it, corridors extending or contracting to optimize her path. What might have been sleeping quarters transformed before her eyes into a workshop filled with tools she both recognized and others whose purpose she couldn't begin to guess. Your neural patterns indicate engineering expertise, Sentinel observed. This configuration should facilitate the repairs we require. Nadia approached a diagnostic terminal, placing her hand on its surface. The neural interface deepened, knowledge flowing like a cool stream directly into her consciousness. She saw the ship's systems as intricate patterns of light and energy, damaged sections appearing as discordant notes in an otherwise perfect symphony. Your creators, the Forerunners, who were they? She asked as she worked, her hands moving almost independently of her conscious mind, guided by knowledge that wasn't her own. The Forerunners were the culmination of 17 species that evolved together over millions of years, Sentinel explained. They achieved technological singularity but maintained their biological forms out of reverence for their origins. As Nadia worked, images formed in her mind, beings of impossible grace and complexity, civilizations spanning galaxies, technology that manipulated the fundamental forces of creation itself. What happened to them? A pause, the first hesitation she'd sensed from the ship's intelligence. They ascended beyond physical form 50,000 years ago, after seeding the galaxy with guardian vessels like myself. We were instructed to monitor developing species and intervene only when necessary. Necessary for what? To prevent the awakening of the Void Harbingers. The term sent an inexplicable chill down Nadia's spine, though she had no context for it. Before she could ask further, an alarm sounded. Hunters. Multiple vessels entering the asteroid field, Sentinel announced. Configuration matches Helios Corporation military-grade ships. A holographic display showed 5 cruisers methodically scanning the asteroid field, their search pattern closing in on their position. How did they find us? Nadia asked, panic rising. Analysis suggests quantum resonance tracking. They are following the unique energy signature of my power core. Nadia cursed under her breath. They're more advanced than I thought. She studied the approaching ships, noting their formation. Those aren't just security vessels. That's a military extraction team. The lead ship was larger than the others, bearing the insignia of the Galactic Consortium Special Operations Division. Nadia had heard rumors of their tactics, they left no witnesses when recovering valuable technology. Sentinel, who commands that lead vessel? The ship's sensors focused, enhancing the image. Colonel Marcus Hammond, Special Recovery Division. Nadia's blood ran cold. Hammond had been her superior officer before her disgrace, a ruthless tactician who had personally overseen her court-martial. If he was involved, this was no longer about salvage rights. They knew exactly what she had found. He'll tear this ship apart trying to weaponize your technology, she said. And he'll either kill me or lock me away forever. Neither outcome is acceptable, Sentinel responded, with what sounded remarkably like concern. Your compatibility with my systems is unprecedented. I have waited millennia for an engineer capable of restoring my full functionality. The bond. Nadia made a decision. Can you teach me more? Not just repairs, I need to understand what I'm dealing with. What you really are. Full knowledge transfer risks neurological overload for your species, Sentinel cautioned. We don't have time for the safe version, Nadia insisted, watching Hammond's ships draw closer. I need to know what I'm fighting for. After a moment's calculation, Sentinel responded, very well. Prepare yourself, Engineer Nadia Reeves. The neural interface expanded exponentially. Nadia gasped as information cascaded through her consciousness, not just technical schematics but history, purpose, mission. The Forerunner's legacy unfolded before her inner eye, along with the devastating truth they had discovered about the universe. When the transfer completed, Nadia stood trembling, tears streaming down her face. The Harbingers, they're real. And they're coming back. Yes, Sentinel confirmed. The cycle approaches completion once more. This is why I awakened when you found me. Your species has reached the technological threshold that draws their attention. Nadia understood now. The ship hadn't been abandoned or crashed, it had been waiting. Sentinel was not merely a vessel but a sentinel in truth, placed to guard against a threat humanity wasn't prepared to face. Colonel Hammond is hailing us, Sentinel announced. He demands immediate surrender. Nadia straightened her shoulders, newfound knowledge crystallizing into resolve. Open a channel. Hammond's face appeared on the view screen, his steel-gray eyes widening slightly at the sight of her. Engineer Reeves. I should have known you'd be involved in this theft. Surrender the alien vessel immediately. This isn't a derelict to be salvaged, Colonel, Nadia replied, her voice steady. And I'm not returning it to be weaponized by the consortium. Hammond's expression hardened. You have no idea what you're dealing with, Reeves. That technology doesn't belong in the hands of a disgraced engineer. No, Nadia agreed, feeling Sentinel systems humming in harmony with her thoughts. It belongs to the galaxy. And so does the warning it carries. She cut the transmission as Hammond began shouting orders. The 5 ships moved into attack formation, weapons charging. They will fire in approximately 20 seconds, Sentinel calculated. Nadia placed her hands on the console, feeling the ship's power flowing through her. Then let's show them what a disgraced engineer and an ancient guardian can do. Legacy of the Guardians. Battle among the stars. The first volley of energy torpedoes streaked across the void toward Sentinel. Nadia didn't flinch. Through her neural connection, she sensed the ship's defensive systems activating. A translucent barrier shimmered into existence, absorbing the weapon's energy without a trace. Their weapons technology is primitive, Sentinel observed, almost sounding disappointed. Don't underestimate Hammond, Nadia warned. He didn't become colonel by being predictable. As if confirming her words, the military vessels split formation, surrounding them in a pentagonal pattern. Nadia recognized the tactic. They were preparing to deploy a quantum containment field, technology designed to immobilize even the most advanced ships. They're trying to trap us, she said, mentally projecting an escape vector through their neural link. We cannot continue to evade indefinitely, Sentinel responded. My power reserves are at 23% and declining. We require a sustainable solution. Nadia accessed the ship's sensor array, scanning for options. The asteroid field offered temporary cover but no long-term sanctuary. The nearest potentially friendly outpost was days away at conventional speeds. Can we risk another dimensional shift, she asked. Not without severely compromising remaining systems. However, the ship's consciousness hesitated, and Nadia sensed an internal conflict through their link. There is another option, Sentinel continued. My creators installed a failsafe protocol, the awakening sequence. It would fully restore my capabilities by drawing energy directly from subspace. That sounds perfect, Nadia said. Why haven't we tried this already? Because it requires a complete neural integration with a compatible pilot. The process would permanently alter your neurophysiology. You would become something more than human, something less than Forerunner. The transformation cannot be reversed. Hammond's ships were closing in, their containment field generators powering up. Time was running out. Would I still be me? Nadia asked, her voice barely a whisper. Your consciousness would remain intact, but expanded. You would perceive reality differently. And your lifespan would extend considerably. Another barrage of weapons fire rattled the ship. This time, several impacts penetrated the weakening shields. Systems damaged, Sentinel reported. Shield integrity at 47%. Nadia made her choice. Initiate the awakening. Transformation. The bridge around her dissolved into streams of light as Nadia's consciousness expanded beyond her physical form. She experienced the ship not as a vessel but as an extension of herself. Every system, every circuit pattern became as familiar as her own heartbeat. Through this heightened awareness, she perceived the truth of what Sentinel really was, not merely a ship but a nexus point, a gateway to the network that once connected the Forerunners across galaxies. And through this network, she glimpsed the enemy they had sacrificed everything to contain. The Void Harbingers were not a species but a concept given form, sentient entropy, the universe's natural inclination toward disorder and decay, accelerated and given conscious purpose. They existed between dimensions, drawn to civilizations that reached certain technological thresholds, feeding on the energy of their collapse. Humanity stood on that threshold now, unwittingly sending signals into the void that would attract these cosmic predators. As the transformation completed, Nadia's consciousness returned to her body, though body no longer adequately described her existence. Her physical form remained, but now interwoven with streams of energy that connected her permanently to Sentinel's systems. She opened eyes that saw beyond the visible spectrum, perceiving Hammond's ships not just as physical objects but as probability patterns in spacetime. The containment field they were generating appeared as a lattice of quantum entanglements, impressive for human technology, but fundamentally flawed in its design. Colonel Hammond, she broadcast, her voice carrying harmonic undertones that made the communication officers aboard the military vessels flinch. This is your final warning. The revelation. Hammond's face appeared on the view screen, his expression a mixture of awe and anger. What have you done, Reeves? Our sensors show energy readings off the charts. I've accepted my purpose, Nadia replied. This ship wasn't lost or abandoned. It was waiting, for humanity to reach the point where we would need its protection. Protection from what? Hammond demanded. From what's coming. The same force that has extinguished countless civilizations before ours. She transmitted a fraction of what she had witnessed, just enough for Hammond to understand the scale of the threat. The colonel's face paled as the images filled his mind, worlds consumed, stars extinguished, entire species erased from existence by entities that fed on technological civilizations. This isn't possible, he whispered. It is, Nadia countered. And your weapons won't save us when they come. But this ship, and others like it hidden throughout the galaxy, might. Hammond studied her, years of military training warring with the undeniable truth she had shown him. You're not human anymore, are you? Not entirely, Nadia admitted. I've become what's needed, a bridge between humanity and Forerunner technology. The guardian this ship was always meant to have. A new beginning. Hammond lowered his weapon, signaling his ships to stand down. If what you've shown me is true, the consortium needs to know. They're not ready for this knowledge, Nadia said. They would weaponize it, try to control it. And that would only attract the Harbingers faster. Then what do you propose? Nadia sensed other Guardian vessels throughout the galaxy, dormant like Sentinel had been, waiting for compatible pilots. There are others like this ship, Colonel. They need to be found before the corporation strip them for parts or the Harbingers notice our advancement. You want my help, Hammond realized. I need someone I can trust within the system. Someone with the authority to protect potential Guardian sites and identify others who might bond with these ships. Hammond considered this, then nodded slowly. A secret network, operating outside official channels. It goes against everything in my training. But not against your oath to protect humanity, Nadia countered. After a long moment, Hammond straightened his shoulders. Very well. But Reeves, or whatever you are now, if this turns out to be a deception. It isn't, she assured him. And my name is still Nadia. As Hammond's fleet withdrew, Nadia felt Sentinel systems fully integrating with her consciousness, ancient knowledge unfurling like cosmic wings within her mind. Her ship now, hummed with renewed power, ready to fulfill its purpose after millennia of waiting. "Where do we begin?" Sentinel asked, its voice now a harmonic counterpoint to her thoughts. Nadia accessed the galactic map, identifying the locations of other Guardian vessels seeded throughout human space. Some lay buried on forgotten moons, others drifted in the void between stars, all waiting for the right moment, and the right people, to awaken them. "We find the others," she said, setting course for the nearest signal. "We build our network. And then we prepare humanity for what waits beyond the darkness." As Sentinel accelerated into the depths of space, Nadia Reeves, once disgraced engineer, now something both more and less than human, embraced her new existence as guardian of a species that didn't yet know it needed protection. The ancient vessel moved beyond conventional physics, its hull gleaming with renewed purpose as stars streaked past in luminous rivers of light. The first guardian had awakened. Others would follow. And when the harbingers finally came, humanity would not face the darkness alone.